Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Good.
Is it just you and me so far?
So far, yep. It's we usually have people trickling in for almost the first 10 minutes, really. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I'll just hang out then. Is this more of a lecture type or interactive?
It's both, actually. Yeah, I'll be giving information, but we're also going to have some people with individualization on the call today that may want to contribute. Is it one of your strengths?
Yeah, yes. I'm happy to participate. I just didn't know if I should mute myself or.
Yeah, I mean, you can mute when you're not talking, but if you do want to say something, please don't be afraid at all to speak up.
Okay, great. Sounds great. Appreciate it so much. So we'll learn a little bit about you when we get started.
Well, you can ask about me now.
Yeah, well, tell me about yourself, because I find this fascinating, the strengths builder.
Yeah. So I actually came, into this professional world with a degree in actuarial science, which is like statistics. And I went into programming mathematical models for insurance companies. And then I got into consulting and, ended up at a travel technology. So I was really technical for the first part of my career, did process improvement and innovation and all that kind of stuff. But, when you really get deep into process improvement, you realize that you can't really have the impact on processes unless you're able to understand the people behind those processes. And so that's when I got a lot more interested in learning about people. And my brother introduced me to CliftonStrengths, and I just was like, oh, this is amazing. And so I started having all my friends and family take it, and learning all about, people and how those strengths worked for them, especially when you get into the combinations, right, of strengths. That's where it gets really interesting. And so then I started a program at Sabre, and that program took off like wildfire, and then it got canceled. And so then I started my own business and just started helping people on an individual basis, on a team level basis, on a leadership level. So I've really gotten to do a lot since I started my own consulting gig. And so every Monday we just do this, and I introduce a strength to anybody in the public who wants to join and talk to them about that single strength in detail.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
How's everybody else doing?
Doing well.
Thank you.
Good.
Doing all right. Thank you.
I can see Pete is on some sort of cliff. That's nice.
Oh yeah, if you're going to be on Zoom all these days, and got to do this.
Gotta have something nice to look at. How are you, Roy? You're on mute, Roy. Jeannie, how are you? I saw you come off mute.
Doing well. Doing all right for a Monday.
Having a good week so far?
So far, yeah.
Good. Good. Hi, Susan. I see you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, afternoon.
Afternoon. Wherever you are in the world. I hope it's good. All right. Is everyone ready to get started? So today we're going to be talking about individualization, and you can see here that this is a blue strength, which means it's a relationship building strength. It's all about the people. And you can see that it is found in a person's top 5 strengths 16% of the time. So, something like achiever, learner, or relator is found more like a third of the time. And, something like focus, discipline, context, those are found less than 10% of the time. So individualization is somewhere in the middle at 16%. And as always, these strengths can fall into one of 4 categories. They can be a thinking strength, an executing strength, an influencing strength, whereas individualization falls into the relationship building realm of CliftonStrengths. I also like to put the strengths into some zones, some strength zones. You guys can see where they are really at their best and work well. You can see that individualization falls into the 6th zone, which is the people management zone. It's really good at managing, motivating, and connecting with people to help them perform tasks and to be at their best. It's kind of got a twofold focus of people and productivity. Okay. So here's the traits. People with individualization are intrigued with each person's uniqueness. They intuitively figure out how different individuals can work together productively. So these guys have a focus on the differences between people in a good way. They really, really value the uniqueness and the differences that people bring to the table. And, you know, when we're looking at Gallup CliftonStrengths, you have a total of 34 strengths that you can get in your top 5. And if we look at just the top 5 and we rotate those around and we get as many combinations of those as we possibly can, there's actually 33 million combinations of those, which means if there's 7 billion people on the planet and you divide that number by 7 billion divided by 33 million, that's around 216 people. So there's 216 people that are similar to you in a top 5 strength capacity in the world. And if we look at all 34 strengths, that number becomes astronomical. You know, now we have 2.59 to the 34th power combinations. So we really are all truly unique, and the CliftonStrengths program shows that. And that's why people with individualization love this program, because they can really get down to the nitty gritty of what makes an individual truly unique from somebody else on the team. You know, they're the ones that are looking at, what do you like? What do you not like? What do you appreciate? What don't you appreciate? What colors are your favorite colors? What gifts do you like? What recognition do you like and do you not like? How do you like to be spoken to? You know, they just dig into the psychology of each person. And it's not that they get trained on this. They're literally born this way. And they have this intuition, and they just have always been interested in, you know, individuals, their real life story, all the things that make them unique. And then they like to take all of that knowledge and help that person and coach that person to become successful and productive and engaged and interested in what they're doing. The other facet to individualization is that once they understand all these individuals, they have a knack for seeing who should be partnering with who and who should be working with who for various reasons. And that allows them to create a very productive team. They care a lot about team culture, team productivity, team atmosphere, environment, and making sure that every individual has the opportunity to succeed within the team. And so that, you know, both individuals are productive and the team is ultra productive. Any thoughts or questions? I know we have some people on the call today with individualization. So if there's anything you guys want to ask the individualizers, please feel free to ask the question.
I had an interview last week, and I was getting a lot of questions about self-gratification, and I was wondering what you thought on that, because I don't know if I answered it best. I was wondering if you, from an individualization standpoint, I don't know if people that are that way are patting themselves on the back all the time and so forth. So.
It's a great point to bring up. I'm so glad you brought it up with your own strength, Troy. people, what I've noticed is that, and again, I'm not saying this is across the board, but I've noticed that people with individualization are so focused on what all these other wonderful people around them are doing and all these lovely strengths around them, that they don't really see their own gifts sometimes. They're kind of like, oh, well, so-and-so does this and so-and-so does that and so-and-so that, you know, so I don't necessarily have much to bring to the table. And so they're not a boasty strength. And what I talk to individualizers about is like, look, you're the pillar in the middle that if you weren't there, all these wonderful, unique individuals around you would not be able to be so successful, because we all need a coach who truly understands us and is making the recommendations for us individualistically that allow us to be successful and help us see our own gifts. The manager that I worked for at Sabre, who had individualization and he had context, actually, he was the best manager I've ever had. And he brought out the best in me. I did my best life work under him in corporate. And he really showed me my own gifts and how to leverage them and accepted them and lifted them out of me and freed me from you know, my own head and me just not necessarily knowing what I needed to be doing and how I needed to be operating to be successful. He really brought that out of me. And I will always treasure and value that man for being able to do that. And I've tried to tell him, like, you've got to understand what you did for me. Like, no one else has been able to do this for me. And so I think that when you guys are answering those questions in those interviews, you really just do need to think about, look, I focus on all these other individuals, but I also understand my own value and what I bring to the table to help all of those individuals become what they truly are meant to become. Does that help, Roy?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think the other person that was interviewing me was I don't know how to categorize them, but I think they were more of a lifting themselves up in management type of person, focused on that, trying to get up the ladder and all that. So
Sure.
but,
So you guys might have been built a little differently. You're more of a natural, service leader, where that person could have been more influential, just trying to promote themselves up.
yeah.
Any other questions about individualization or thoughts?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am
individualization.
individualization. I know
Yes.
it's my number one. So
Yeah.
I don't think of myself in that light at all. I think of, since I have achiever, and what else do I have? I have empathy,
You
achiever.
have empathy. Mm-hmm.
So I think of what I need to be doing. I don't think about the individualization part of my life. Like I would think of it like what Roy was just saying. I mean, and you're saying you have to consider that. That doesn't come to mind easily for me. I just see what I have done, like, is it in terms of tasks and what I have yet to do, but I don't see like, oh, what I've, not as accomplishment, more as a task.
Yes, and I think you're thinking of it as a how, like how you get there. Because you want to get something done, but
Right.
you might also need to interact with somebody
Yes.
to get it done.
Yes.
And so then it's a matter of how you interact in an effective way to be able to get something done.
Yeah, but I don't consider that, I guess I don't think of that as
A gift.
yes.
So let me tell you, you guys, I have worked directly with Susan before. And what Susan will do is she will learn exactly what kind of candy you like. She will learn exactly when you appreciate, company into your office and when you don't. She will learn exactly how to talk to you in a way that works for you. So Susan, you may not think of that as anything special because you do it all the time. But for me being on the other end, it was so special to be treated so individualistically
Okay.
because I felt so cared about as a person.
I appreciate that because a lot of people don't. And I don't think that has anything to do with me.
Right.
They just don't focus on it, that they're getting their favorite whatever on their birthday. They probably just see it as, oh, this fluke. Oh, she happened to get me this. And I'm like, no, no, no.
Well, they may notice and they may, because they may make them feel really good. They
Yeah.
just might not be good at expressing their gratitude.
Yeah.
And you guys can see there's only 16% of people in the world that have this as the top 5 strengths so those 16% are the ones who really do truly have a focus on engaging in that way. If you have arranger, connectedness, context, developer, empathy, maximizer, relator, self-assurance, or significance, okay, you may have or may experience an intensification around your individualization. Anybody on the call have one of these pairs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I do.
Uh-huh. Yep. Trevor has maximizer individualization. Susan, you have individualization empathy.
And developer.
And developer. Wow.
Yeah.
I think you missed your calling. So
Is it too late?
it's never too late.
I know. I know.
So
I have
when
connectedness and.
you have connectedness, Roy? Okay. So for example, connectedness and individualization both do exceptionally well connecting with a diverse set of international individuals, global individuals. They both strengths have a focus on that. So when you put them together, now you really, really have an aptitude for that, a focus on it, and an ability to be very strong in that area. So you want to make sure you work on global teams, period, with hugely widely diverse set of individuals. You're going to be so successful there that you need to not ignore that, right?
And Brandy, can I add a comment about
yes.
What Susan was talking about there? What I feel like I've noticed in all strengths and in all of my strength studies and living and breathing them, I feel like the two that I am the worst at noticing, recognizing, or teaching are my top 2 strengths. I do them so subconsciously that there's not really a great way for me to recognize the depth or the appreciation that I could have for those, because I don't know how I do them. Not really. I can gain more and more awareness, but Susan's strength of individualization sitting at number 1 and being amplified by what'd you say, developer and
Empathy.
the other one, and empathy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a triple amplified number 1 slot strength that, of course, you have zero clue how your mind does it. It just subconsciously does. It's just how
it's automatic. Just
Yeah.
is on.
Yep, that's a great point. And I think that we all experience that at some level, but like Trevor pointed out, Susan, for Susan, and also Trevor has this going for him, when it's amplified to the 2nd power, 3rd power, 4th power due to the other surrounding strengths, you really, you do it so naturally, so intuitively, it's going to be very difficult to explain how you do that, to someone else.
Good point. Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, not to mention the downside of, like you said, if one of the faults of an individualization person is to not recognize their own strengths, well, you just amplified that 4 times.
What you also don't know, Trevor, is that Susan's highly analytical, so she really liked those numbers.
Perfect.
Really? I feel so wonderful right now.
Maybe his individualization picked up on that. Maybe.
I was ready. I was right there for you. It's like it was strategic almost too. Weird.
Almost. So you will see individualization paired with relator 27% of the time. So that is the most common pairing that you'll see. So what you can think of is if you find someone with individualization, they probably have relator lingering somewhere nearby, okay? And both of those strengths really appreciate being one-on-one. and working with people one-on-one. So you can also imagine that an individualizer enjoys a relator and a relator enjoys an individualizer, because they do have some similarities. They come at things differently, but they have some connecting factors within their strengths that allow them to be a bit bonding. Whereas individualization and consistency are never paired together in a person's top 5 strengths. So you rarely see anybody with both individualization and consistency. Anybody have that rare pairing in here? I know a few, but I don't think anybody on the call does. Okay. You guys can just pair up with me. I have a nice high consistency for you. So the thing about it is, look, I can come in and help you all create a great system with my consistency. You guys are going to want to be personalizing and customizing and individualizing. So we could butt heads, right? We could have a few spots where we're like, you want to customize, individualize, I want to apply something all to everybody. And that could be frustrating. And so that's just something to take note of. Or you could say, look, you do systems well, you create the systems, I'll just make sure we add in some personalization in the systems, and we can come together and be a great team and become a win-win. I could only find one. I spent a lot of time thinking about this last night. I could only find one strength that I truly think drives disruption to the individualization strength, because individualization appreciates everybody's strengths, everybody's natural talents. They get along with everybody. They learn how to adjust and adapt to that other person's style. So there's not a lot that can actually disrupt the individualizer when it comes to working with others. Now, the connectors are going to be very closely related to the intensifiers. Again, because there's some similarities in those strengths that bring them together and bond them, even though they don't think exactly alike. They connect. But there's also some other ones in here, like achiever, because individualization love to create productive people and achievers love to be productive. Those two people get along well together. Okay.
I'm feeling like Sybil now. I have multiple personalities.
Yeah, we all do. That's the complication of the complexity of people.
Yeah.
We all have different sides to us. And then you think, oh, well, if somebody has this, then they must have this. Nope. That's not the case. Any other thoughts on, have you guys had experiences where you connect well with a certain type of person, or you don't get along with a certain type of personality? Try to think of it based on your individualization. Or are all of you individualizers kind of like, nope, we pretty much can work with anybody?
I was just wondering, I have relator and self-assurance on the next 5 strengths. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so we would have expected relator to be somewhere lingering by, right? Because again, it's those two are paired together about 30% of the time. And that is just, a intensification around, I love to be one-on-one with people. That's where I'm at my best, is when I'm one-on-one with individuals, getting to know them and getting to know them deeply. The self-assurance is rare, right? That's just an oddball, because self-assurance only pops up in people's top 5 strengths 5% of the time. And so whenever you get that one floating up to the top, even within the top 10, it's more rare. And when you have something that's more rare, you get to leverage it, because not a lot of people are going to have, how do I individualize someone, but also help them feel confident? That's kind of like you could be called a confidence coach. Okay. What else do we have? All right. So individualization are not at their best, right? When generalizations are being made, their advice isn't welcome. The life stories that they're sharing are unappreciated and, kind of bounce off people's heads. People don't react to them. when they can't personalize, when they can't customize, when they're not allowed to lead teams of people, they're actually not at their best. When they don't get to counsel or coach. So in any of these environments or situations, they don't have the opportunity to be at their best. Whereas if they do get to coach and manage, they do get to customize, individualize, personalize. They get to help create highly productive teams and share life stories. You know, and it's both ways, by the way. They like to learn people's life stories. They like to share their own. They like to share other people's life stories. They like to read about other people's real life stories.
Mhm.
Okay. What they love to hear are things like, you're a great teacher. You've really created a highly productive team. You're fantastic at building relationships. You always personalize things and you customize your approach, and I appreciate that. You motivate me. I'm able to do my best work under you. You appreciate people's differences and embrace all different types of personalities. So you're going to hear these types of things as an individualizer when you are flexing your individualization muscle. It's welcome, it's needed, it's appreciated, it's valued. Is there anything that's really stuck out to any of you individualizers that has been said to you that you just, you know, really appreciated from an individualization standpoint? You guys are so bashful.
I would say from a just in terms of relating, if somebody is, if a friend, and I'm talking about like friends of many years, if they're talking about something and, you know, I try to not interject until their time is right. I think they appreciate the fact that they're talking to somebody who doesn't bat their eyes and go, okay, you done yet? Looking at their watch. I mean, I comment appropriately and it's relevant, and sometimes it gives them something to think about that they hadn't, or maybe just reassurance when they're having a difficult time, and you know that the world is not ending. And then also, you know, like, you know, the obvious thing is like finding the perfect gift. And again, we go back to the other comment before, choosing something and thinking about someone. It's not just, you know, I'll get 12 of those. If I see something that's appropriate for somebody that makes sense, why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are extremely observant. You notice a lot of details when it comes to interacting with people. The best way to disengage you is to say things like this to you, right? We don't need your coaching right now. Your stories are useless. Diversity doesn't matter. Stop individualizing everything. We just need to apply the same thing to everybody. That's fair. You guys are like, oh, cringe. No, that's no good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
And I was. Go ahead, Roy.
People are always telling me I'm an observer. Sometimes I'm quiet, sit back and just check things out. So, but that's kind of my normal mode, is I'm always observing.
And I was going to say I was bashful on the last slide one because I'm always bashful. So there's that. Really.
Goodness. A little sarcasm there.
Do we believe this?
Yeah, you know, a little. But because you said you were asking what have people said to individualizers that would loop around that. Well, I think what's interesting is I don't think many people have said much to me, and that's where I locked up actually. I think what it is the individualization components fly so far under the radar that most people aren't noticing them. Yeah. And so it's almost like a feather in the cap of an individualization person is to make it such a non-issue because they're not looking to be appreciated. They don't appreciate their own strengths necessarily, but it's that they have 7 different languages of conversations with 7 different people all in the same room, and everybody just thinks, oh yeah, that makes sense, or oh, that felt good, or it's just smooth, and they don't realize that it even happened, that someone
Yeah.
pivoted in 7 different directions in back-to-back sentences.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
a
no
great
one's,
point.
I haven't necessarily had people say things to me, but I think that's innately because they don't notice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. It just feels good.
Mhm.
Mhm. This slide was hard for me, you guys, because you guys don't like to be acknowledged. You don't need it, like you said, it's not necessary. The gratitude that you get from someone for it working well for someone, or to help them be productive, or help coach them to a better place, is all you need. However, I do think that when people recognize your own individuality, the gifts that you bring to the table, and the fact that you do customize and personalize things, and that you think of people above and beyond, and that you care about them and about them being successful and them performing at their best, I think those are the types of things you like being noticed for. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Do you think individualization type people have a knack for creating a sense of trust from other
Yes.
people?
Absolutely. Especially if you have an emphasis on it, like if you care about creating trust, which I think most of you do, because you know innately that by creating trust, you can also help someone get to where they want to go, because there has to be an open, vulnerable relationship there.
Yeah. Good
All
points.
right. So if I'm on the outside, I'm being communicated to by an individualization person. They may give me some advice. They may coach me. They may tell me a life story to allow me to relate. They, might discuss my uniqueness, and I might, if I'm really intuitive, I might see them adjust their style, their interaction, their communication with me. I might see them get me the perfect gift and be like, wow, this was really thoughtful. These are some of the ways that the individualization are going to interact and communicate with you. And these are ways that you can recognize that you are interacting and dealing with a individualizer. They usually ask some good questions too about yourself. They just like getting to know you as a person. And then if I am communicating back to an individualization, it's tricky because they're adjusting to me. And so I can, try to do certain things to help that interaction. However, what's so nice about individualization is that I can just be comfortable with me, and they actually really appreciate the authenticity, and they're going to happily adjust the conversation to how we need to interact based on me. That doesn't mean I just give up and don't care and don't try to work with them. I do need to show some sort of value on individuality. They're really going to appreciate that. They're going to appreciate us being able to discuss certain topics like psychology or culture and how to bring the best out of people. I was going to say this later, but I'm going to say it now. I work with several individualizers. I particularly work with Brad Stevens from Level C Solutions, who basically asks me to give him as much information as I can give him on the individuals that I interact with on his team, because he just wants a second pair of eyes. I mean, he's super intuitive and he knows exactly what people are good at and, how to interact successfully with them, but he wants to know more. And so he partners with me as a strengths coach to get a deeper understanding and get another perspective of all of those individuals, so that he really truly gets it right. He also has Maximizer, so he really, really wants to get it right to the 10th degree. And so I think that's also a way to interact and effectively with an individualizer, is just to help them do their quote unquote job. Okay. I just listed some questions that if you're in a situation and you're just trying to, you know, open up the conversation with somebody who has individualization. For those of you who manage, for example, people that have individualization on your team, these are just some good questions to open up dialogue and ask. I got a couple of pages for you guys, so you can look through those. Let's flip it now and look at it from a sales and influencing standpoint. So if you have individualization and you're a salesperson or an influencer, there's lots of things that you can do based on your own strengths in that moment to help sell a service or a product. Again, using those real life stories to illustrate your points are great because you do so well at that. You know, obviously listening to your client's individual story and the company's, you know, unique story and trying to understand how to cater what you're selling as a service or product to the needs of that person is going to be important. And it's not, again, trying to sell them something they don't need. If you come around and say, well, you just don't need this, then that's going to be the most authentic result. But if you do see that they need it, then you do want to, of course, use your wonderful individualization strengths to cater your communication and your positioning of the products and service with the other person so that they can really see the need from it and get help from your product or service. Any sales individualizers on the call?
Yep.
Can you share
So
with?
I run a sales organization and I've been in sales. Just funny because I grew up thinking sales was a gross and dirty, dark term. You know, the used car salesman type stereotype. And so I couldn't even admit for a long time that I was in sales or had anything to do with sales. And I didn't realize that I was just painting pictures and visions my entire life and selling people on ideas. And I think once I started even getting some actual like sales training in the mix, it really brought me to a comfortable place when you just said the sentence that made all the difference in the world. When I realized, I was watching. Oh my gosh, I'm about to tell a story. I'm like bleeding. I'm like living your slides. I was watching Shark Tank, and I remember Damon didn't like the guy that was up there presenting his coaching and teaching methodologies because he'd been on the show before and he had proven himself to be a little bit slimy. And so it was a sales coaching business that he was pitching. And so Damon's like, sell me this pen. And I remember this guy like trying to go through like his steps in the selling of the pen or whatever. And the whole time I'm thinking, ask him if he needs a pen. Ask him if he wants it. Ask him if he has a problem with the pen. You have to find the need first. And so when I had that piece come out in sales, all of a sudden now it became easy because I could find out, is there even a need? Do I actually believe there's a fitting or anything? Because from that point, then I heard tons of speaking around being a great storyteller and how powerful that was for people. You can hear it. I'm listening to Will Smith's audiobook, Will, right now, and he's talking about in the film industry and in music, and what people want is they want stories. They want to be part of a story and be told a story and be engulfed in a story. And so adding in stories to help people get over their fears was just like either a parable in a storybook or movies, and someone could relate to it and it could understand that you understood how they feel. And it was a depth and a connection and a safe space to where now they could take their armor off and they could actually get out of their own way. And so I think that's primarily where my sales has developed into, is finding out if there's even a need, if there's anything I have that can help with that need, whether it solves it completely or in part, and then helping people get out of their own way as slowly or quickly as they need.
What do you guys think?
I taught that through the organization now.
Would you guys buy something from Trevor?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think individualism is great for sales because you make people feel like a person and not just waiting for you to get some commission off.
That's right. Yeah,
You're gonna ask for money. Somebody want you want to be, you know, you want to be the object of their focus. You're the attention that they need to be. I'm saying this backwards, but you know, you need to be the person they're focusing on. So if you're looking like you're, you know, addressing 12 people and nobody in particular, be like, well, you know, I'm kind of bored and they look kind of bored, and what am I, why am I going to respond? So, yeah.
So now what is it like if we flip it and we're trying to sell something to you? I want you individualizers out there to think about when somebody has actually sold something to you. Why was that? Because you were treated like an individual. That person was authentic with you. They built the relationship and the trust. They found out if you actually needed a pen and asked you what you need, and you know, and then hopefully catered, you know, what they were telling you to that. Now, the other piece of this is that since you guys have a focus on wanting to do your best at coaching others, helping others be successful, understanding psychology, if the product or service allows you to do that better, that's really important to point out. If the person is trying to sell you on a service or a product, to say, look, it's going to help you become a better leader. It's going to help you manage your teams better. It's going to help you be more productive. It's going to help you understand your team members from a psychological standpoint better. Those are the types of things individualizers want to buy.
And also just listening to you. I mean, which is hilarious because it's like you think of the salesperson, you think of the big extrovert with the big personality, and which is the exact opposite of what I find out of a great salesperson, who's someone who actually listens to you and then can build whatever they're selling to exactly the individual who is you, you know, like they're listening to you instead of talking to you.
And also remember, Brad, you can have both. You can listen and really deeply care and individualize and be a big personality.
Yeah, those are the ones that are great. I mean, God, my top ones are woo and communicative. So I mean, it's pretty. It's always a daily fight for me to shut up and listen and not tell the story.
Yeah. All right, let's do another one here. So if you guys are looking for a job right now, you may be trying to sell yourself and create some buy-in in the interview. And so I've listed some tips here for you to be able to exploit and share your own goodness with the recruiter, because I know that's hard for you guys.
Mm.
And I think one of the biggest, you know, things you want to slide in there is to really show and demonstrate and tell that story around when you have hired and built a team and gotten that team to be productive, or you've taken a team that's fallen apart and you come over and you take it over and you really, you know, set the right tone on the culture and get it working well. Those are really powerful examples going into an interview. So if you're on the other side, like myself, I need to observe and notice some things to understand if I'm working with an individualization, because if I do understand that, then I know I know how to interact with that person. So, you know, does this person light up when they're discussing different traits of individuals and what motivates those people? Do they seem to know how to interact with me and seem to actually get to my core and motivate me? Does the person have experience and really seem to, you know, light up and be engaged when they're talking about leading productive teams? These are little indicators of, yes, you've got someone with individualization. And then I've listed all the words down here because there's just certain words that make people's brains turn on, and individualizers' brains turn on when you say individual, when you say customize, when you say productive, unique, you know, multicultural. These are things that individualizers' brains just kind of go, oh, hey, I'm in. What's going on? I'm interested. So these are the words that you want to use with them in conversation. Okay, we're going to read through these ones. These are just things to consider if you do have individualization that you could potentially struggle with. And if you do, then you've got some suggestions here. So when others do not see the unique differences between individuals and they insist that individualization is unequal or unfair, use that as an opportunity to explain the effectiveness that you've experienced by treating people, individually. They might just not understand. You may also sacrifice your own needs for the needs of others. So you guys just do this all the time and you do it naturally. So you just need to treat yourself, treat yourself to some customized experiences and give yourself some specialized gifts, to maintain some of that balance. And, if no one else is able to treat you as individually as you would like them to, then just do it for yourself. Because of your need to individualize everything you do, it could be difficult for you to create a centralized, streamlined, efficient system or set of processes. Some of you have strengths in here that allow you to do that easily with your individualization. But if you don't, let the phone get muted. There we go. So if you don't have one of these strengths, you want to partner up with somebody who has.
How you doing?
Is that Roy?
Yeah.
Mute Roy.
Mute.
Can you mute Roy?
Let's see here. Roy, mute. I think I can mute him. Roy has been
Oh,
muted.
look at that. You've been muted.
Okay.
Goodbye.
What power?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I switched the slide here. No, I didn't. Okay, what were we saying? You just might need to partner with somebody that can do those centralized systems if you need that.
Mhm.
You may be impatient with generalizations. Just understand others do not have your gift of noticing that every detail and that every individual trait. So they are just going to make generalizations when they don't have your gift for seeing those individual traits. You may get frustrated when someone tries to turn someone into something they are not. Okay, use this as an opportunity to show the value and benefit of recognizing and encouraging someone's true individual talents. People might not be able to see it as well as you do. So it's your job to point it out. You are extremely intuitive, you individualizers, and you tend to make assumptions about people. However, some people, not all, but some people appreciate being asked about their preferences directly, even though you may already know the answer. So sorry, you're just gonna have to go the long way, ask anyway, even though you know the answer. You'll get affirmed or confirmed and you'll feel secure. And the other person will feel like they've been able to share with you the facts. Okay, notice and resist the urge to put a single individual's needs ahead of an entire team's needs. I know that's hard to do sometimes, but when you have a team, the team comes first, and then the individual's needs, can be catered to on the side. Because you see everyone's unique value, you may put others on a pedestal while not seeing your own significance. We've talked about this today. Remind yourself that others perform at their best only because you draw it out of them. They may have never experienced their best performance without your guidance. That's your gift. All right, I've listed some things here that you can do to work collaboratively with others. For everyone else on the call, you're hearing individualization is naturally collaborative. They want to work with individuals and they want the team to be productive. Their intent is collaboration. So it's really easy for them to fill in the the needs for collaboration because they do it quite naturally. Okay. If I'm on the other side of it, again, there's some things I can do to help that collaboration with the individualizer. Swap some real life stories, share what motivates me, ask them what motivates them. ask for their leadership, their mentorship. These are things that engage them, and I will benefit from them as a person on the team as well. These guys are actually really good at writing, teaching, selling, presenting, speaking, and it's because they tell the stories. So they should get involved in those types of things. If you like to write, write. If you like to speak, speak. I've listed out some things for you individualizers around strengths specific partnerships. So for example, if you need help getting things done, the achiever and the responsibility are going to get that done. If you need some facts about the people you're working with, the analytical and input can help. If you need somebody to influence, getting things started, the activator can step in. You've got some systematic people that can help you in here. If you really want a deep understanding of how someone's feeling about something, you can ask the empath on your team. Maybe you need help tackling really difficult, complex problems. I've noticed like some people like, Cindy, are you on the call?
Yes.
You have restorative, but you have all these people relationship building strengths around it. I think you have 3 relationship building around restorative. So you're a really good partner for an individualization when, let's say they had like individualization maximizer and they're used to, maximizing individuals, but they're not really good with the problematic people. You're somebody who could be a great partner for them to step in and work with those people that are giving us a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jeannie, you have that going for you too. Don't you have individualization and restorative both?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you could help step in and let's say deal with the problematic people, where someone like with maximizer individualization is not going to want to do that at all. They're just going to want to work in a place of getting people to excellence. I've listed out some things for you individualizers to consider to be able to just stay in your strength zone and flex your own strengths, to build relationships with the people that are closest to you. Is there anything you guys would like to add to this?
I do have a question. It's Mariana.
Hey, Mariana.
I have individualization in the middle, like in 20 or something, but looking at individualization and people that are really focused on people and people development, do they tend to carry the burden if somebody is not able to complete something, or if they're helping somebody individually? You know what I mean?
They do not.
Okay, I just was wondering.
Now, if they have responsibility, yes.
Okay, I was just wondering, it just seems that they're so in tune with that one person, and it's just not, if they don't, let's say you're getting them something for their birthday and they feel down, you get them something specific for them and they still don't feel energized that you've individualized themselves, they just move on.
They don't. They actually go, well, why didn't that work? Let me try again.
That's what I'm saying. They would continue trying, I guess I should say.
They do.
Until
Even if they verbally say, I don't know what my wife likes. I've heard that one, right? I don't know what my wife likes. I just can't get it right. Well, they're really bothered by it. They want to get it right. So they're going to keep trying.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I definitely do that.
And like, some individualizers are going to give you the advice and then say, you can take it or leave it. You go. But other individualizers are going to be like Susan is a developer, so she's going to be right there next to you, arm in arm, holding your hand, going, let's do this together. So it really depends on the other strengths around it, like what type of individualizer you're getting.
Brandy, I will say, as an individualizer, I have, it depends on the situation, like, because it's hard for me to turn it off. when I'm not doing it. And so like I've heard my girlfriend before, I didn't ask you to coach me. I don't need to be coached. I don't need you to tell me this. So there are some people that you might think you're coming up with this amazing individual, you figured something out that you can really share with them and help them. And they're like, I don't want to hear that. I don't need you to do that for me. So you have to keep in mind that not everybody is going to be super excited for you to share your discoveries with them. And and it could be something they're just, you know, maybe they have an issue, maybe they're not ready to hear it, maybe they're going through something. But yeah, there's been times where I have popped up and got really excited to tell something, and it was met with kind of a, okay, I don't really need you to tell me this, you know.
And you know, Brad, you know, obviously what you're going to struggle with is the communication, right? You're just going to want to communicate it because it's so brilliant. You have this great idea and you just got to share it. But what you can do is try to think about how to operate a little bit more like an intellect and squeeze it in there, so not directly, like unabruptly. So what you're going to do is you're still going to communicate it, but you're going to be like, so what do you think about this? And they're going to be like, well, I've never thought of that, blah 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 blah, and you're like, like, gotcha. You know, I've got my suggestion out there. It's a good one. It's individualized. You just couldn't have it told to you, but you needed it to be asked to you.
For sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, with regard to influencing in general, and then sales and delivery and personality types and customization. One of the things that I teach everyone is any sentence that you're about to say, any statement that ends in a period, if you will just restructure it for a second and make it into a question, you still have the ability to say everything that you want to say, but now it's an inquisition and everybody gets to decide what they think and how they feel about it without actually having a sentence said at them.
Yeah. And a great book
Yeah,
on this
good
is
point.
what's that negotiation book? Never Split the Difference.
Yeah, Chris Voss.
Yeah, it's really good. If you guys, you know, need a good book on how to say things in a way that people can hear it. Obviously, individualizations are natural leaders. You know, people want to feel cared about. They want to be productive at work. So there's just so many things that you guys do naturally that make you great people leaders. You really can help your team members design an individual plan, you know, to help them along their path at an organization into their future. And do that in a way that works for them, not against their strengths. I've also listed, not just thinking about it from a leadership standpoint, but if you're directly managing a individualization person, you might, you know, want to practice a few things with them. And I find it interestingly difficult to manage an individualization person from trying to be a good manager to them. They're easy people because they're catering to you the whole time. But to get it right for them can be challenging because they're catering to you and they're catering to other people and they're catering to the clients and they're catering, you know, they're catering all the time. So it can be hard to get out of them their own preferences and what they really care about and what you can do for them. I've listed here some ways that they learn best. Just think of everything we've talked about. They need to do these things to learn best. Their learner is on when they are managing a team, when they are engaging with individuals, when they are, you know, trying to understand the differences and the uniqueness of people. These are when they're learning the most. And this is when they're learning about people, about the topic they like, people, and how they're motivated, what they like, their thought processes, their relationship styles. And obviously listening to stories. If they listen to real life stories, they're going to learn in that mode as well. Okay. As a coach, there's lots of things I can do. I've got 2 full pages for you guys on this. You know, just really understanding what these individualizers care about, helping them get into positions where they can lead teams of people and they can motivate others and they can mentor. You know, finding areas for them where they can use their customization and personalization in a way that is absolutely 100% needed at that organization or in that environment. These are things the coaches are aiming to do for their individualizers. And sometimes we can even let them coach us because that's their gift and they're at their best when they're doing that. And as a coach, I benefit from that too. Is there any ways that you individualizers have ever been coached by somebody that really stuck out in your mind as meaningful?
Yeah, really one manager that I worked for and he wasn't my direct manager, he was probably a skip manager, and he basically really appreciated, was very vocal in his appreciation for what I was doing when I was doing it, talked about the diversity, talked about how well I worked with global teams, etc. And that made a huge difference because I think it coached me to be better and better in what I did and made me, more successful. In others, it was basically, they were just accepting what I did and didn't really encourage me further. So I don't think I maximized my individualization.
Yeah, so what you're saying is he helped give you that confidence that what you were doing was valued and important. Yeah. Right. I've also listed just some daily actions that y'all can take. These are nice sheets to print off and just make sure once a day or twice a day or 3 times a day you're doing one of these.
I had a comment on individuals that influence. So my first job out of college was actually working with Motorola, and I was assigned to do a Six Sigma implementation, kind of the focal point. And my boss, in a way, just pretty much trusted me and let me do my thing. I mean, he supported me. That was a big deal, and it supported me and just trusted me and trusted my decision making. So I think that was very helpful for me to be successful there.
Mm-hmm. They experience the ability to be autonomous and run your own team. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I need to add that when I worked with Brandy here, I mean, Brandy I think her coaching was always evident, even when we, no matter what we discussed or worked on or whatever. I mean, that's part of her style, which I miss. I thought about that actually very, recently. Just the way she presented things that needed to be done, but she did it in a way that was so, geared to the way I operate. So it's just there.
Man, I can't, I'm so relieved to hear you say that because I have consistency as a top 5 strength, not individualization.
Which you do. I mean, well, but you have, look at all this background. It has to come in.
Right. I am a learner, so I can learn
things.
Yeah,
no, definitely. I mean, you just came in with, and when you could, as time went on, of course you had less and less time, but you would really, and you would actually look at me like, are you getting this? Mm-hmm. Like, are we both thinking about the same, there's like sending and receiving? Is it that going on or what? So, yeah.
Lost, right? Of just looking people in the eye and putting them in the human, valuing them. And I think that's really important.
Definitely.
Yeah, and establishing connections.
Yes. So thank you.
You're so welcome. It was great working with you, Susan.
Okay, before we go, I want to buy a pen.
I got you.
The pen is sold. By the way, for those of you who didn't catch on, Trevor, who is the sales individualization maximizer strategy on the call today, is my brother. So you guys have officially met my brother here on this call. And these are some books that we came up with to share with you that we think individualizers would really appreciate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Any other questions from anybody on the call that you would like answered before we close up today? No? Okay, as always. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'd love to say I thought this was sweet. I mean, I can't imagine how difficult this would be. You've got consistency, and individualization is like the polar opposite, as we reviewed in the first slides. And here you are conducting an entire session on individualization, the polar opposite of your nature.
Yes.
And I can't imagine how difficult this was, but yeah, I thought all of that was spot on, and I thought like this was really cool. This was helpful. I mean, to learn from it, the insights, and yeah, like it's a sweet session. I love this.
This is great. I'm so glad, guys. I really appreciate that, Trevor, because like you said, it is really hard to put yourself in these other people's shoes. Luckily, I have Gallup's really great research. And I also have all of you individualizers who I've gotten to work with and interact with, and you guys have allowed me to learn from you, which is, you know, a lot of times the information disseminated to y'all in these slides is because of what you have told me. And I just listen, I shake my head and nod and say, okay, got it. So you guys, in these slides, you've got all the assessments that you can access. You've got the different languages that people can take the assessments in if you have someone you want to share the assessment with. There's an app on your phone. If you've never downloaded it, you can get the Gallup Access app to get, you know, the sort of individualized tips and tricks for your strengths. And if you haven't signed up to my website app, that's strengthologyinsights.com, and you just download your Clifton's 34 report, so you have all 34 strengths in hand. You go sign up, put your strengths in there, and you're going to get tons of insights, additional insights, if you go out there and sign up to that. There's books you can read. There's a YouTube channel you can sign up for. By the way, this recording will be posted on, it will be posted on the YouTube channel. God, I'm just thinking, God, I hope that recorded today. I think it did. But if it did, it will be on the YouTube channel. And then 10% of everything I do goes to Operation Underground Railroad, this wonderful organization who helps save human trafficked children around the world. And of course, my information, if you guys want to reach out to me and talk to me about anything, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining today. And next week, what are we doing? Analytical or deliberative? That's your choices.
Analytical.
Analytical it is. Next week is analytical. So we will see you next Monday at noon Central Time for analytical.
Thank you so much, Brandy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.